I do like a Saturday morning. It's so peaceful. A little bit cold still. Still working on my hugelkultur beds. The main point of this video is a response to ProlifeVeganAryan Vegan's second most recent video, I believe. He was saying, first of all, it was mainly just a criticism of the MGTOW movement. And I would like to say that, you can complain about the MGTOW movement if you want, but what the MGTOW movement is we're just a very small percentage of people who actually talk about it. If you look at the amount of people in the U.S. Who are living the single lifestyle, or are basically refusing to marry, you then, there's like 300 million plus, 315 million, I think, in the U.S. nowadays, and over half of the households are single, like mine, basically, and so that is a strong indication that there are millions upon millions and millions of guys out there who are saying, no, I am not going to get married. Just look at that awesome house, man, I'm loving it. But anyway, trying to criticize the MGTOW movement, which is a small number of guys who are it might be 12,000, maybe 15,000 guys in the country or in the world who are actually part of the MGTOW movement. That's just a drop in the bucket. Complaining about the MGTOW trend, or those millions of guys who are MGTOW but never say anything about it, it's just pointless. It's like complaining about the weather. You see, we have a situation where these guys, they are not marrying, and it's because of the conditions, right? And it's just like a giant freaking hurricane. It's caused by the conditions that exists in the country, right? Or in the world. The marriage laws, the way women just treat men, the way men are often just turned into some kind of house repair and money earning appliance, especially after the kids happen. Shake's video, most recent video, he was talking about how women's affection or love is basically transferred to the kids, and the guy just becomes like this sort of hanger-on in his own family, and until she gets tired of him, and then she ass launches him out of his freaking family. And then he's living in a studio apartment somewhere and paying tons of money for child support while she's having sex with some new guy, right? In your house. Living with your kids, I just can't see the value of that personally. And a lot of, obviously, millions upon millions of guys in the country are also deciding, no, I'm not doing it. And complaining and criticizing the MGTOW trend, the MGTOW movement, maybe this tiny little 100,000 guys saying how bitter and how unhappy we are and whatnot it's just pointless. The people you're actually talking about or complaining about, the millions of guys who are doing this, they'll never hear your video. Because they've probably never even heard the word MGTOW before. So they they're just like the weather. They are what they are, and basically complaining about them just does no good. And second of all, talking about how MGTOWs are bitter and angry because they've been hurt and they demonize women, and I suppose there's a certain amount of that. You know, some people are happy, some people aren't. But basically, it's just, I think being a MGTOW is just a more practical way to live. You know, it's vastly less chance of getting everything you own ripped away from you. Vastly less chance of being nailed with child support and alimony. Man, what a pretty cedar tree that is. Oh, actually, that's not a cedar tree. That's a fir tree. I mean, these things are toxic as can be. They drop acidic pine needles, and they sort of make a dead spot on the ground. About the only thing that'll grow under one of these trees is blueberries, because they like acidic soil. But anyway, I plan on sort of evicting these things as time goes on and replacing them with fruit trees. But back to what I was saying, I think that the MGTOW lifestyle is just a better way to live. You get to keep all your money. Nobody steals your house. Nobody will, just treat you like an appliance. And you can live your own life for your own purposes. And I find that exactly what I want. And I made that decision in 1997, and I haven't run into anything which makes me change my mind about this. I'm going to be adding all of this organic material to that hugelkultur bed and sort of cutting it down, and then covering it with soil and planting squash over it, I believe. It'll make it a lot more drought resistant. But okay, second thing, he was complaining or saying that the MGTOW guys are like left-wing liberals. And I think that MGTOW is like the opposite of a liberal belief system. You know, liberals are all about equalizing outcome and taking money from those people who are successful and actually produce useful things and things of value, and giving it to people who don't produce anything. And socialists, socialists and like left-wing liberals, they all believe that, people should be taken care of, and that's all well and good, but they are not shy about seizing money and resources from people who create things like husbands. And then geez, do you have to make so much noise? Gods. Anyway, you bastards. Shut up. Okay, well anyway. And basically people who want to keep what they earn and keep what they produce and keep their assets, those people tend to be more to the right. And I think the MGTOW movement is a much more right-wing movement than a lot of people think. And the MGTOW trend, I believe that is more of a keep your own stuff and keep your hands out of my wallet type of movement, which is a right-wing movement, or it tends to be more to the right. Although there are some left-wing types who are in the MGTOW movement, I suppose. Okay, well, let me see. Demonizing women. Yes, women are sometimes demonized by people in the MGTOW movement because women do demonic things. Like just false accusations and nailing and just discarding guys once they get bored with them, once they get what they want, and they can just seize his assets and seize his income. That's demonic, man. So I'm all for demonizing women who do demonic things. So, okay, well, I guess that's about all I wanted to say about it, Summing it up, the MGTOW trend is vastly larger than the MGTOW movement. Complaining about the MGTOW movement is pointless because they'll never hear you. And they are like complaining about the weather. They simply are. And the only reason why they are what they are is because of conditions being what they are. And when the conditions change, the MGTOW trend will change. The MGTOW movement, we're probably more emotionally attached to this situation because we are much more aware of it, and we might not change as much. I don't plan to ever marry, and I don't really know if I'll ever date again either. My last date was like 2009, I think. I'm done. I'm freaking done. Anyway, we're sort of I think we're sort of more right-wing than a lot of people think. And we also, we do demonize women a little bit because they do demonic things. That I think we couldn't be guilty of, I suppose. And I think that the MGTOW lifestyle is just a better, more intelligent, more efficient way to live. Less heartbreak, less being used. It's a more stable way to live, and I think it can agree with a lot of guys, and I plan to keep this lifestyle pretty much from now on. Okay, that's about all I want to say. Later.